is. And so that's why you got to come out, because the New Testament is only written to the two kingdoms of Israel. It's not written to everybody. Galatians chapter 2, verse 12. For before that certain came from James, he did eat with the Gentiles, but when they were come, he withdrew and separated himself, fearing them which were of the circumcision. So Paul, the Apostle Paul, is addressing the situation that happened when the Apostle Peter went to minister to the Centurion, the Cornelius, the Roman Centurion. And this is vitally important because people have the religiosity, the religious institutions have deceived you, especially Christianity and Catholicism. All these different religions, they have deceived you because they've told you Cornelius, he's a Roman citizen and he's not an Israelite. They're lying. Cornelius is an Israelite. He's of the 10 tribes of the northern kingdom that was scattered. That's why the angel went to him. If he was not an Israelite, an angel would not have appeared unto him to tell him to call for Peter. Yahawah has a contract, a covenant with his chosen people. He does not have a contract or covenant with anybody else that's not Israel. So he's not sending any angels to anybody else telling them, oh, send for Peter or one of my disciples so that you can get saved. He's not doing that. He doesn't have a contract or a covenant with anybody and everybody else. But we don't know no better, so we believe the lie. But now Yahawah is requiring us to believe the truth. The truth shall make you free. You should know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. So now you don't have an excuse. I'm telling you the truth. And so you don't have an excuse anymore. Cornelius is a Hebrew Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the 10 tribes of Israel that are scattered, that are no longer being referred to as Israel, but are being called Gentiles. And Peter had went to minister unto him, and Peter sat down and ate with them. And then Brother James came up, and he said, did eat with the Gentiles, but when Brother James showed up, they withdrew. He withdrew and separated himself, fearing them which were of the circumcision. Brother James and all the other disciples that came up after Peter had ministered, they're of the circumcision. The circumcision is the southern kingdom, Judah. And because they was fearing, because they had sat down with Cornelius eating pork, they blessed the food. It wasn't sacrificed unto idols, so they could eat it. If it was sacrificed unto idols, they couldn't eat it. And so that's the thing that people don't understand. And Paul is breaking it all down. And it talks about it in the Old Testament. People just overlook it. It talks about eating swine's flesh and what was going on. They was sacrificing unto idols. That's when they was eating swine. They was using it to sacrifice unto the Most High, swine's flesh, unto idols. They wasn't sacrificing to Yahawah. They were sacrificing to idols because they was using unclean animals. You can't sacrifice unto Yahawah with unclean animals. And so that's where the mix-up came in. And so they said, oh, well, you can't eat unclean animals because you can't sacrifice it unto Yahawah. You can eat it, but you can't sacrifice it unto Yahawah. So they were trying to sacrifice unto Yahawah with unclean animals, and that's an abomination. But the Gentiles, they was eating it, but they wasn't sacrificing unto Yahawah. And so and they wasn't sacrificing unto idols. And so Peter ate. But then when James came along and all the other brothers, he withdrew himself because they was, did you eat some pork? He was fearing. He like, I don't want them to get mad at me. And so the Apostle Paul is calling them on the table, calling them on the carpet, going on what's going on. Galatians chapter 2, verse 14 through 16. But when I saw that they walked not uprightly, according to the truth of the gospel, I said to Peter before them all, if you, Peter, being a Jew of the southern kingdom, livest after the manner of the Gentiles, the northern kingdom of Israel, that are scattered, and not as do the Jews, the southern kingdom, why compellest thou the Gentiles to live as do the Jews? And so Paul is saying, hey, man, you're being a hypocrite. You go down to talk to Cornelius and live as he living, and living after the manner of the Gentiles, and not as the Jews. So why do you try to think that you can compel them to live as the Jews do? Verse 15, we who are Jews by nature, not sinners of the Gentiles. And so Jews by nature is the southern kingdom. The northern kingdom of Israel are not Jews. They were never called Jews. And that's what people don't understand. Jews by nature is the southern kingdom of Israel. They believe the gospel of the kingdom, the ones that believe. And some of them don't. But he says, not sinners of the Gentiles. All of the 10 tribes of the northern kingdom of Israel were called Gentiles because they were scattered among the Gentiles. And they were no longer referred to as Israel. So they were all referred to as sinners until they believed the gospel of the kingdom. Verse 16, knowing that a man is not justified by the works of the law, but by the faith of Jesus Christ, Yahawashi, the Messiah of Israel. Even we have believed in Jesus Christ, Yahawashi, the Messiah of Israel, that we might be justified by the faith of Christ, the Messiah of Israel, and not by the works of the law. For by the works of the law shall no flesh be justified. So the Apostle Paul is letting Peter and the rest of the disciples know that, look, we're not justified by the works of the law if we don't have faith and believe that Yahawashi, Jesus, is the Messiah of Israel. You can keep the law all you want, but if you don't believe that Yahawashi is the Messiah of Israel, then your work is in vain. Even we have believed. So he's talking about you have to believe the gospel of the kingdom. And so that's vitally important. Faith without works is dead. He says, and not by the works of the law, for by the works of the law shall no flesh be justified. So both kingdoms, the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, have to believe that Yahawashi is the Messiah of Israel. That's what all this is talking about. It's not talking about anybody and everybody else. It's talking about the two kingdoms of Israel. Galatians chapter 3, verse 14. That the blessing of Abraham might come on the Gentiles through Jesus Christ, Yahawashi, Messiah of Israel, that we might receive the promise of the Spirit through faith. And so the blessing of Abraham is the covenant, the contract. If you're not a part of this Abraham's seed, Isaac's seed, Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel, that's the covenant, that's the contract, that the blessings might come upon the Gentiles. The Gentiles that they're talking about is the 10 tribes of the northern kingdom. They're not talking about anybody and everybody else. But the Christianity, the religions, have lied to you thinking, oh, it's about everybody. The blessing of Abraham is coming on everybody now. No, it's not. It's only coming on the two kingdoms of Israel. The